UofL just responded to that news conference with the punishments or penalties that were handed down over a series of violations back in 2017, the repercussions of $5,000 fine, among just a few more things, Ken.
Most importantly, no postseason ban for the Cards. And that was something that they desperately wanted to do with this program moving forward, because it has been a dark cloud hanging over the program. And
Rick Pitino, one of those coaches named in this, he is speaking right now with his reaction.
How we will conduct this, we have Iona head coach Rick Pitino, along with Steven Stapleton, who's the counsel for Rick Pitino. Mr. Stapleton will make a statement to open up, as will Coach Pitino, and then we'll open it up to questions. When you have questions, please use the raise hand function. I'll ask myself, and we will do as many people as we can. So, Mr. Stapleton.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Steve Stapleton from Clark Hill, counsel for Coach Pitino. This has been a long and tedious 5 years for Coach Pitino. It's been very stressful for him and his family. He lost a job that he loved, a lengthy contract, and he listened to lies that were told by many about him these past 5 years. Although the IARP panel's decision completely exonerates Coach Pitino, there are no winners. As we got to know Coach and review the voluminous record before the panel, it was clear to us that Coach Pitino did not commit a violation. He did nothing wrong. It was our job to make sure the independent panel had all the information before them so they could make an informed decision, and that they did. I just wanted to make sure folks on the call understand and highlight some of the things from the panel's decision. It's a lengthy decision, of course. We've only had slightly more time than you to review it. We appreciate the panel's work and the lengthy opinion that resulted in a unanimous decision. This decision held that Coach Pitino did not commit any violations. There's no evidence he knew of any payment scheme, because he did not. These red flags the CCU continuously advanced were rejected by the panel. The panel agreed with Coach Pitino that there was no sufficient or credible information to conclude that the apparel company was a representative of the university's athletic interests. The red flags were not in plain sight with respect to Coach Pitino. Coach Pitino never requested that the apparel company employee number one assist in the recruitment of the PSA. The apparel company employee number one did not inform Coach Pitino that he would assist in recruiting the PSA. These are all directly from the panel's decision. Panel also found there was no reason to suggest that Coach Pitino had any reasonable basis to believe that the brief exchange he had with the apparel company representative was a red flag. The second red flag advanced by the CCU was around the PSA and his late interest in Louisville, and unsubstantiated rumors that another program had made some illegal financial offer for the PSA to attend. The panel completely rejected this based on the evidence. The panel noted there were serious due process concerns about the CCU's actions, certainly with respect to Coach Pitino. Also, the panel determined that during the time period alleged, Coach Pitino conducted the Louisville men's basketball program in a responsible manner and promoted an atmosphere of compliance. The decision, I believe on pages 51 through 53, sets forth in detail what Coach Pitino did to promote that atmosphere of compliance. We argue that this is probably the first case where the CCU or the NCAA asked the panel to hold a coach responsible because he was too strict. The panel agreed and completely rejected that argument. Coach Pitino was completely exonerated. He should not have had to have gone through what he has gone through the last 5 years. We'd like to thank the panel for their work. And with that, I'll turn it over to Coach Pitino.
Thanks, Stephen. Certainly your great work as well. We're so much appreciative of that. The IARP apparently is going away, and I'm very disappointed in that for other coaches and other programs and other universities, because these are legal experts who are strict with due process. They don't believe in hearsay. And I'm certainly not going to knock the NCAA because I'm part of the NCAA. I'd be knocking myself. But I will say this, I've been through 2 different hearings. This one was much more professional from a standpoint of they would not take into consideration just like a red flag. I'm being accused of having strict rules. I was told that I was too strict, that an assistant coach could not come to me if he violated rules because he would be terminated. I've told my staff going back 40 years that if they knowingly violate NCAA rules, they will be terminated. If they break a rule and it's unknowingly, we turn ourselves in and we obviously take it to our athletic director and our compliance department. They felt that that was too strict. Well, that should be their goal and what they're shooting for. Now, 2 assistant coaches have had a show cause. One of them has apologized to me just recently through his attorney, and he's glad that this is now over with, and I appreciate that, and you're certainly forgiven of anything as far as I'm concerned. But as you sit for 2 years away from the game you love, you sit at your home with nothing to do, and suddenly it's not 8 hours a day on a basketball court. Suddenly it's not scouting, watching film and breaking away and not realizing that you may not get back in the game. You suddenly realize that you have to take accountability for who you may hire. But then you start looking at all the positives. You know, I've had over 25 people become head coaches. 3 have gone to Final Fours. One of my ex-players and coaches won 2 back-to-back national championships, a future Hall of Famer. Another just at UCLA, Mick Cronin, was an outstanding assistant who was totally compliant to rules. Another, Tubby Smith, won a national championship at Kentucky. So there's about 23, 24, 25 others. The first female coach to ever sit on the bench became a head coach and was part of that great game with Duke where we lost on that Christian late in the jump shot. So there are so many great assistants out there that did it the right way, and I'm so appreciative of them and the teams that they helped me build. When I left, I got a phone call about a week prior to Christmas. I decided to take a job in the professional league, Panathinaikos in the EuroLeague. I just left my family, took off, never been to Greece. And then the next 2 years were an unbelievable experience. I coached against great coaches in the EuroLeague. We made the playoffs both years. We won 2 Greek League championships, and I later became the national coach. So through great adversity, sometimes unbelievable things happen. I've had so many friends from my agent over in Greece, Angelos Kotorias. He's like a little brother to me. And the thousands of people I met that treated me with such great kindness over in Greece, I can't thank them enough. And to become their national coach was a distinct honor that I'll never forget. So those 2 years went by, and I had the opportunity now to come back to Iona and coach college basketball once again. And I'm deeply appreciative of them as well. But now it's time to get on with this, and certainly Louisville's behind me. I wish them nothing but the best. Kenny Payne is a friend. I want to see him have great success. But understand this. We have our 10th anniversary coming up of our national championship team in 2013. You don't take championships away. You can't rewrite history. We won the championship. No, we did not use steroids. We did not steal signs. We did not do anything illegal to gain an advantage of the game of basketball. We beat Michigan with great defense, an outstanding, well-coached Michigan team. We beat Wichita State, an outstanding, well-coached team with hard work ethic, great defense, unselfish offense. And my players should be commended. They are champions. You can't take that away from them. But I will tell you this, if the IARP was involved in looking at that case, that banner would still be hanging today because they don't have anything except experts on that panel, not a committee hired by the NCAA. It doesn't work that way. It's not about hearsay. It's looking at the facts, looking at the evidence, and coming away with an honest decision. So that's not a knock on the people that serve on those committees. But those young men in 2013, they won a championship the honest way. Was it reprehensible behavior that some of them were involved in and an assistant coach? 100%. We were all against that at the University of Louisville. As far as the University of Louisville is concerned, as I said, I wish them nothing but the best. But there's one thing missing. It's not my contract. It's not me going away from a great fan base who I loved. The only thing I regret, amongst a lot of personal things as well as professional things in my life, the thing I regret the most is that Tom Jurich resigned. See, Tom Jurich in all of this, he came to me, a lot of people don't notice, 3 weeks prior to me being fired and said, two people that I don't want to mention their names because I have such a distaste for them. Two people said that, Tom, if you don't fire Rick Pitino, we're going to fire you. And he said, that's not going to happen, coach. You're not going to be fired. You did nothing wrong. He came to me a week later and said, coach, they're going to fire me if I don't let you go. I said, Tom, that's it. You're firing me. You built this place. You took a soccer program, made them #1 in the country and built a new soccer stadium. You enhanced the football stadium. You have a top 10 football program, a Heisman Trophy winner. Coaches were brilliant there. You took a women's basketball program, made it top 5 in the country, a top 5 men's program in the country, a baseball program that was the eye of so many baseball programs in the nation, and you built that stadium as well. Tom Jurich, and if you take 1,000 athletic directors, and you all know that listening to me, 999 would have fired me, and I don't blame them for doing so. Tom Jurich said, I could not sleep at night if I let you go. And that's the biggest regret I have looking back on the situation. The banner being taken down, certainly my place. You can't take that championship away. You celebrate, guys. This is your 10th anniversary. You've earned it. Luke Hancock, you were the most outstanding player. You earned that. Peyton Seaver, Russ Smith, all you guys earned that. But I will say that Tom Jurich did not deserve his fate. What he did at Louisville was absolutely incredible from a facility standpoint. What he did taking those programs to national prominence was amazing. And Tom, to this day, if I could take back one thing, I wish you would have just stayed on and fired me. But that being said, just speaks the volumes of your character, what you're all about. And that's the thing I feel most sad about today. So now we move on to the most important thing. Most important thing right now, my players throughout this from both Boston University, Providence College, Kentucky, and Louisville kept me strong throughout this ordeal. But now it's time to get ready for Pennsylvania. They have 12 players returning. We play Vermont at the Mohegan Sun, St. Bonaventure at the Barclays Center, St. Louis at home, Santa Clara in Las Vegas, New Mexico at New Mexico, SMU in the Diamond Head Classic. We have one of the 5th or 6th toughest non-conference schedules in the nation. And if I don't get fired up for that, I'm in trouble, serious trouble. So I'll take any of your questions if you may have it right now, but I want to thank the IARP again for their professionalism, for the hours and hours and hours of work they put into this. And I also want to thank the NCAA and their people that worked very, very hard about it. I didn't agree with you, but I thank you for everything you put in as well.
If you could use the raise hand function, I'll call on you to unmute.
All right, and we are wrapping things up with our former UofL head coach, Rick Pitino there, who said really his biggest regret out of all of this was losing Tom Jurich.
Yeah, what happened to Tom Jurich, and that began, pretty much the moment that the FBI, attached Louisville to their pay-for-play investigation. Rick Pitino and Tom Jurich pretty much got fired on the same day at the University of Louisville, and he said, look, they gave Tom Jurich a decision to make, and he was not going to fire Rick Pitino, so he ended up getting fired. Obviously, court documents and everything has kind of been changed to where Tom Jurich, resigned and stuff like that, but in that moment, he was fired.
Yeah, we just heard again from Rick Pitino, but also at the top of the hour, UofL leaders, including AD Josh Hurd, gave his remarks. Our Tyler Griever is there with the reaction that we've heard from the last half hour. Tyler?
Yeah, guys, I think a big point of contention, or the thing that's been on everybody's mind, is that so much has changed in the past 5 years. Louisville itself considers that timeline as enough of a punishment in itself, never mind the penalties that the IARP has given the program. But when I asked the IARP, chief panel member, if that was considered at all in this decision, along with how much college athletics has changed with name, image, and likeness and other factors, he says that was not a determining factor in all of this. But it is quite clear from Louisville's news conference that Josh Hurd feels that this whole situation was held against the Cardinals constantly from opposing coaches and recruiting, and that a cloud hung over this program for the past 5 years. Now, since we're talking about Rick Pitino as well, I did ask if they revisited any of those past personnel decisions, and Josh Hurd and Lori Gonzalez says they do not.
All right. I appreciate your covering of this, your reporting there, Tyler. We will see you again back here this evening. Our live reports going again at 4, 5, and 6. For all the latest information, you can tune in at those times, as well as go online. WHAS11.com. Our free WHAS11 app is right there. Sign up for that. You can get those alerts as we receive them throughout the day and the coming days. We'll